Loren Michael Harris is a motivator. He strives to inspire and uplift every person who crosses his path. Loren is the Loren is the founder of the Power of We Symposium. He has a live stream morning show and has been featured on Larry King Live, NPR, People Magazine, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, and the Fox Network. Please welcome Loren Michael Harris.
My goodness. If I didn't know myself, I'd fall in love right now. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. Wow. So this is so awesome to me. I am Loren Michael Harris, and yeah, and I need to update that resume because I'm actually on a network now. So yeah, I used to be just on Facebook with my morning show entitled Bathrobe Moments, where I start every day in a bathrobe with my I Love Lucy coffee cup, just having a conversation with people in the world that I've been blessed to have gained access into their hearts and into their minds. I am a speaker. COVID has taken a lot of the real staged moments away, but provided other stages that I could have never seen coming. And this is one of them. And I'm truly, truly honored to share this space and hold this space for all of you. Because each of us could have been anywhere in the world right now, but destiny has chosen this moment for us. And obviously all of us here clearly have chosen in return to be here. So that fulfills the promise. And I live my life based on the promises of what I know to be greater than me. And one of them is that where two or more come together. I may not have gone to Stanford or Harvard, not even Yale, but I can count at least to two. I know I'm one, and I see a lot more than one on the screen. So this is a blessed, anointed opportunity. So I just wanted to thank you all for this. And Tony, thank you. I met Tony at the People's Tree in Naperville, where I live. And I'm happy to be married just 3 years last Wednesday. Actually, that's a week ago today, to my wonderful husband, Dr. Brian Rybczynski, who didn't change my life. He gave me life. And, I knew way back when I was a little boy playing with my Stretch Armstrong, which I still have the mini version. I cut open 6 or 7 of these in my early years. So I was a curious kind of kid. But I knew even way back then, before I knew what gay was or any attraction to men, I was just, I thought every kid tore the underwear pages out of the Sears and Penny's catalogs. Apparently not. But anyway, that's when it all began for me. And even back then I knew, Loren, man, you better play your cards right, because one day you're going to need to marry a therapist or a plastic surgeon, because I knew I might need both. I got one. I got the therapist, and he's a person who has enhanced me in so many ways that tonight I really wanted to talk about some dates, 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 not the fruit, although my doctor says I should include more of those. I'm working on it. But dates as in divine appointments, if you will. And I want to talk about the anniversary of when I truly began living. So I'm going to start by throwing some dates out there. July 25th, 2015, that was the day that I met my everything. Now, I guess I should frame this by saying that I really didn't believe anything about that day was going to be anything other than, well, to put it bluntly, a booty call. I'm serious. I really had no belief that there was anyone for me in this universe. I came through 22 homes, and if people, maybe someone out there, well, Tony, you were at the gig downtown. I'm known for the guy, I have a Goldcast video that has 22 million views right now, all about me telling my story one night, first time ever, that I opened up my mouth and I told about having had 22 mothers. Now, you might wonder, how can that be? Well, my very own original Eve, the one who bore me, the woman who raised me until she died, and then 20 more in the middle due to the foster care system. So inside the foster care system, a lot of things are happening simultaneously. One of them, it is back, and it still is too, because I work very hard for change still today within that system. It's still broken. And, when you're a child and they're a young child, you're prey. And so your silence is guaranteed. Those tiles of sickness are held together with stories and whispers and scary things to keep your silence. And I was told all those years over a string of abusers that I would never be anything anyone would ever love. And they said anything. They never said anyone. This is as good as it gets for kids like you. And a plethora of other things that all said the same thing with just different syllables attached. And I remember that first night when an abuser came to me and how the three boys in that house had told me when we got locked in at 8 p.m. You see that mattress over on that wall? Well, there's a hole behind that mattress. And that hole it leads to a locked door in the other bedroom. It's a closet, but there's two locks, one on the room and one on that door, but there's one guy that holds the key to both of them, and you're new. So tonight, he's going to use those keys to go through both of those rooms, and he's going to move that mattress, and he'll be coming for you. That was the beginning of me not believing in love. That was the beginning of me not believing in me. Even though it had just been a week to the day that we had buried my mother that had had me since birth. And they walked in 20 minutes after we got back and said, "You're not Larry Dixon, who I'd always been. This isn't your real family. You were not adopted. They were trying, but it didn't happen. You're Loren Harris, and you need to come with us." And they handed me a trash bag. So even then, I was already being groomed to go where I now found myself. And July 25th, 2015 started out as just an ordinary day for me. A friend of mine, a straight white woman, go figure, Tammy, and also a PhD like my husband. She said, "Loren, I found this site. It's called Adam for Adam, and I think you need more friends in your life." And I said, "I'm not trying to date." She says, "Who said anything about dating?" I said, "You need more friends in your life because they deserve to know the person I know. Just give it a shot. I'll help you set up a profile." We did, over a couple glasses, 2 bottles of wine. And it was the very next day, a Saturday. And I'd say, "Well, let me just turn this on and see." And I saw a name, Chicago Doc for you. Well, you had me at Doc. So I go ahead and I said, "Oh, and he's cute. He looks just like a little Michael J. Fox kind of guy." And I said, "Well, hi." And I got up and I was walking away to do that. I heard ding. So I turned around and I made my second date. And I said, "Hi, how are you?" And it went on like that. And it just so happened. That's the bell of purpose. That means that there is no coincidence. That's why I use air quotes. It didn't just so happen. It was a divine appointment. We met for coffee. And as I saw who would be my husband approaching, he was crossing the street because I lived on the bluff in a town called St. Joe, Michigan, where the back only had room for the cars in the house and everyone else had to park a couple blocks away. And so a lot of women were crossing the street at that particular time, all with their prams, their strollers. And Brian's so short, that's my husband. Everyone was taller than him, which is, we're used to that now. And I said, "Well, where are you?" And he goes, "I'm crossing the street." And I said, "But I don't see you." He goes, "I'm in here." So they went straight to go down to the bluff and push their children. And he turned and I saw an aura. I literally saw a light all around this person. And I watched him as he approached, and he was standing 2 feet in front of me, and I still wasn't looking at him. I was transfixed by this energy. And I hung up the phone, and I'm just watching him. To move it forward for the sake of time, I'll say this. 3 hours later, I found my way through, not over, not under, and certainly not around all that good information I'd been given over the years. Get over it, Loren. You'll get around it. Don't worry, you'll find a way from underneath it. This time I took a chance because I saw a light that I'd never seen before. And it instructed me to look through it so that I could get through it. And I took a chance and I said, "You know what? I've only had one relationship in my entire life. I was 22 years old and it lasted for 26 days. And I've been alone all these years. But I am telling you, as I am standing here, I believe you were meant for me. And I was meant for you. And chances are I'm going to pursue you." Fast forward, 5 years later, no, 3 years later, actually, 3 years later, I married that person. I married my everything. And, you know, in the work that I do, I'm in television, I have a show, I'm an associate producer. I grace covers of magazines. I'm on syndicated shows all over this world. And none of them ever gave me the validation I was looking for. It wasn't in the numbers, it was in the number one. Because it was one person that was destined for me before I even drew my first breath. So the date that I celebrate, that anniversary of when I truly began living, it wasn't my birthday, the 4th of July, 1962. It wasn't the day I met my very own Eve, my birth mother, October 12th, 1997. It wasn't even the day that I married my everything, October 14th of 2017. That anniversary for me is tomorrow, October 28th, but in the year 1969. Because that was the day that I began living, because that's the day that my everything, my husband, began living. I knew he was here before I knew his name. And so if there were a subtitle to this story, it would be How Hope and Faith Found Each Other. I was groomed to not make it. On the outside, it seemed like everything in my world was cursed. But the moment my husband handed me a book that said How to Become a Motivational Speaker, everything in my universe changed.
Yeah, could you make?
Everything in my universe shifted.
She was kicked off.
Just like that. And that book that he gave me, I promise you, to this day, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of speaking engagements later, I have never cracked that book or read a word of it. So it wasn't the book that made my dreams come true.
Okay. And then it'll give you more.
So I'm bringing it home now, but I'll tell you this. When I shared that space that day with that energy for me was called courage, because something was in front of me so important, so urgent, that it forced me to make decisions that I could never make before that moment. I had carried all my scars underneath things like this, turtlenecks, hoodies, not literally, but figuratively, because I didn't understand that my scars were proof of healing. I also did not understand that beneath every single one of my scars lies the heart of a story, waiting for me to give it permission to beat. The moment I did that, I did it one time. That little thing up at the top on the middle, where I stood on a stage for a thing called Listen to Your Mother, and I told 800 people all my dirty little secrets about having had 22 mothers. And that very speech, that very 10 minutes, now is a Goldcast video and has over 20 million views. I say all this to tell you, you know, I mean, I went through a lot of things in my life. You know, since I met my husband, like I said, all these things have happened. I've gotten great awards, things that people dream of and never speak of. And out of all of them, there's nothing more important to me than knowing that someone was made and meant for me. So I encourage all of you, if you had that person, have had that person, are still seeking that person, it all starts in one spot, the same place. And in that place, it is your closest reflective whatever. It might be a mirror like this one. It could be a spoon from last night's ice cream bowl. Or it could just be a window, a reflective surface. But the moment you look at that and you really cellularly appreciate what's looking back, who's looking back at you, you have just acknowledged the greatest blessing, you. And once you know that, once you realize that, you can go out your door and you can be that very blessing. I just say this because I don't want anyone here to ever think that your life is not perfect, because it is. It took a lot of twists and turns for you to be right where you are right now. So celebrate it and keep changing the world.